Opulence, luxury, everyone loves gold. So let me show you what we're going to use on today's card. And I'll introduce the dies with the boards. We've got our finishing touch classic rose, and that's the flower we're going to be gilding and showing you how to put together. We're going to be using the corner from the California collection, the border corner and tag set. On the Valencia, out of the Spanish collection, we're going to be using the outer frame. On the Seville, we're also going to be using the larger outer cutting die. And on the Italian collection, we're going to be using the tag in a really pretty way. And the star of the show is going to be the background from the Spanish collection. And this is the one we're going to be using for our high-low technique. So I'm going to start there. And what I've already done is I've gone ahead and covered a piece of white card with a self-adhesive sticky sheet. And I can just show you, there's just a tiny bit there. We can peel it back and show you that they're two pieces, okay? So you want to trim it down when you do this. Now, I'm going to cut the background into this. And what I want is just to cut the top layer of the sticky sheet, okay? So I'm going to put it onto my cutting board and put a little bit of removable tape. Keep it into place. And I just want to run it through one time. I don't really want it to cut all the way through. So if it does, then I'll put a little bit of tape on the back of it. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. It just depends. Now, let's see. Set this aside, remove our tape. I think we've got just about what we need here. It's perfect. So if you see, what I've done is I've cut the die into the sticky sheet, but it hasn't cut all the way through. So this is perfect. I'm going to set it aside, and I've got one that I've actually done ahead of time, and I've gone ahead and removed all the little pieces of the backing paper on the sticky sheet there, exposing part of the design for us. So let's just clear a little bit of room here. And we're going to come in with our new mulled wine Cosmic Shimmer gilding flakes. And these are just lovely pots of the most beautiful flake you've ever seen. So I'm going to use a piece of Rub It Scrub It pad, and I'm just going to place a bit on top and kind of sprinkle it around a little bit. And we'll use our Rub It Scrub It pad to work it into that design. It's got some gorgeous gold, it's got some maroon colors, some lavender tones. It's really, really pretty, this one is. Let's add just a tiny bit, little bit more there. And move it around. And you can see you've got all that design it's picking up. You don't want to waste it. And right into that corner. And this Rub It Scrub It pad will actually refine those flakes, taking off the excess that you don't need. So you can just pop those back into your container. Let's do that. So there's no waste. And I'll clear a little bit of a spot here, and let me just do a quick tidy up with my mat. There we go. Now, the other part of this is once you've got all your flake off of this, all the little bits, you still have the rest of that adhesive sheet on there. So what we're going to do is bring in some micro beads now and put them on when we pull the rest of this off, exposing the remaining sticky part of that. Gently pull it back. Go slowly. We hold it right like that. Pull it around the corner. And get that last little bit off of there. So you can see how pretty that design looks already. And now we're going to give it the microbead technique. Let me just roll the microbeads into the sticky sheet and make sure they're really well attached. You want to do a little bit of burnishing here to make sure, and I just rub with my fingers in a little circular motion, taking off any excess there is. In fact, let's just tidy these up, put them back in there. So now, this is what I call the high-low technique. You have the low from the gilding flakes and the high giving you a different texture from the microbeads. Isn't that pretty? It's really beautiful with that background. I'm going to use that with the frames that I've cut. Now I've used the Valencia inner frame, and it's got a little bit of a decorative embossed edge that I've put in there, and then I've cut one more frame to give different dimensions, and we're going to go ahead and put that over the top. I've put some mounting foam on the back already, and because we're putting that on top of microbeads, I always recommend a little bit of Cosmic Shimmer Dry's Clear Glue. So I'm just going to run a bead along that mounting foam. We'll pop that right over the top, and you'll have to excuse me as I lean in to make sure that I'm getting that fairly straight. Now, I've already prepared a background piece where I've cut two of the large corners from the California collection. Just put them in opposite corners just to give a little bit of a decorative touch to it. And we'll put this piece on with some mounting foam as well. Get that sorted out. And put that right in the middle of those two corners. So pretty. And I've got a backing piece that I've done ahead of time with some Cosmic Shimmer PVA glue dots in white all the way around the edge, and I've let them dry. And we'll go ahead and put that onto this and get the base of our card completely ready to go. There, so you can start to see that's coming along really nicely. Now I'm going to put a sentiment in there, and what I've done is I've cut two of the tags from the Italian collection. One of them I've already stamped the sentiment on, and the other one's plain. But what I'm going to do is add them together and just offset them so that my sentiment is going this direction and the other tag is going this direction. So it gives a little bit extra filigree around that. So I've got the basis for the card completely finished, but we're going to add some pretty gilded flowers. So I did go ahead and do some gilding. I cut out a piece of white coconut white card with a sticky sheet on it using the outer ring from the Rose collection. I've gone ahead and gilded these with the mulled wine as well. So I have 3 of them all ready to go. So to make our flower, what we're going to do is we're just going to fold them in half and get some score lines going across those petals. There's 6 petals on each, so it's really easy just to fold it in half and then go across again and across again. We're going to do all 3 of these. And that just makes it bend easier as we move and make our flower. So now on the first of the flowers, I'm just going to cut a slit right to the center. That's all I'm doing. On the second one, I'm going to cut an entire petal out. And we're going to keep that, so don't lose it. And on the third one, we're going to cut 2 petals out of it. And we're going to keep that one as well. So going back to my Cosmic Shimmer glue, I'm just going to glue this petal behind that. I'm going to hold it into place, and let me just grab a paintbrush. And I'm going to use the back handle to wrap that petal around and just get it a little bit formed. And then I go in with my finger and just give it a little more of a pinch. And that makes it more secure and gives you a stronger flower too. It's easier for posting that way. And then on the very first one, I'm going to just poke the center of that down so it'll sit nice. Put a little bit of Cosmic Shimmer glue in that, and we're going to set it aside. Go on to the next one. Put that petal behind that one. Use my paintbrush once again. Fold it back. Just get it started. And give it a little bit of a pinch. And roll it. And get those petals all rolled backwards. Now on this one, it's got 4 pieces, so it'll fold flat nicely, and we're going to just trim the back of it off. The little pointed part will take off. And then we're going to seat it right down in the center of that. And I usually just use the nozzle to bring the glue up and around the edge to kind of start to hold it. And then go to the third one that's got the 2 pieces taken out of it. Same thing, use the paintbrush. Just get it folded around that and started. There we go. And pinch them with your finger and your forefinger, your thumb and forefinger. And then take the back of this one off as well. Now this one is 3-sided, so it doesn't collapse easily, so you just have to kind of use your scissors to cut away a little piece there and reform it. That'll go in the center here, and I add a little more glue at this point. Just let it sit. Then when it comes to this 2-petal piece, I'm just going to do a little forming around my paintbrush so that I can turn it into a cone. Add a little bit of glue on the edge there, and just tuck that inside of that one and give it a second to set up. And once again, we're taking the back of that off, right about halfway. And I'm going to use that to hold the center of that rose down. It actually helps push it down into there and secure it. And then the very last one, because I've got the gilding here, what I want to do is wrap it so that the gilding's on the outside around my paintbrush, and just give it a little more of a turn, getting it more cone shaped. And I'm going to take the end of this one off and seat that right in the center there, and that'll be the tight little bud that's coming out. So we have a really pretty gilded flower there that we can use. I've already done one ahead of time, so let's go ahead and assemble it on our card. I'm going to use a little piece of the white tulle, and I've tied it into a knot, and that's one of our new products that I'm just really excited about because I think it's so pretty with your flowers. Use a little glue dot here, and we'll seat that right about like that. And let's use the bigger glue dots for our flowers. And I've got one I made earlier, and we'll put that one right about there. And this one's still a little wet, but I think we can get it onto our card, okay? Put that down there. Ordinarily, I'll let them dry overnight. Like that. And a couple other little eyes we've added are some little pearl strings. So I just like to fold them, add a little glue dot, and tuck them under my tulle. They look so pretty just coming out from underneath it there. And here's another one. We'll just add a second one. And we can trim those to whatever length we want them once they're on the card. There we go. And I've made some really pretty crystal stick pins with just some jewels and gems and little spacers with our blank stick pins. Glossy accents will hold those gemstones into place till they dry, so you can use those. And I'm just going to pop them down into my card underneath my rose a bit. There we go. And I think that's about it. And I think we've got a beautiful card there. I'll tell you what, let's just do some trimming. Just take a tiny bit off of these pearls. And how's that? I think that's very, very elegant, and I think anybody would love to receive a card like this for just any particular reason at all. I hope you've enjoyed today's video.